Hey guys, I am finally here. Oh, wow. And my face is like super shiny. What the hell, man? I'm looking like Michael Jackson here. You guys didn't know. One's like Erica's going to make a big entrance. Yeah, she's going to make a big entrance looking like Michael Jackson up in this. Like Michael Jackson after lots of surgeries. What the hell? Well, hi, welcome to a very shiny face, a very shiny Arica Angelo. Ah, gosh, being back in the big city. So much fun, traffic and congestion all on the roads. Lots of fun. Love it. Love it. Why did I leave the big city? Oh, this is why. Because of traffic. Thank you, Robert. Robert's like, no, you don't look like Michael Jackson. I feel like I do. So we are talking about how to handle a manipulative person. And it's so weird because today, sometimes when you're a coach, sometimes when you work with people, sometimes things will come in your vortex, your energy. Sometimes you'll have experiences when you're about to. So funny, my phone just came on. It's like, it's your bedtime reminder at 9:30 p.m. Yes, I go to bed early. Sometimes things happen in your life and you're like, why is this happening today? And sometimes you don't even realize that you're going to help support a client with this. Or sometimes you're going to do a YouTube live. And, me and my team, we schedule these videos. And as you know, I produce a lot of content. I do YouTube lives. I do YouTube vlogs. I do YouTube shorts. I do Instagram. So there's a lot of content going out. And sometimes I can't keep track of what I'm covering for the day on top of coaching people and running a business and doing life and traveling. So it's a lot. So today it was really interesting because I was having some experience with lots of manipulation today. Lots of manipulation, like manipulative people, manipulative encounters. And I was like, this is so weird. Where is this coming from today? Because I don't have a tolerance for this. So why is it showing up? And why is it showing up consecutively? For example, my Airbnb lady who was not nice in France, and I left her a very harsh review, as she should have received. And she had the audacity to send me a message today saying, thanks for the Airbnb review. You are a great person, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. I thought, girl, I left you that review like 2 weeks ago. Like, where have you been? Have you been asleep? And then I got on the Airbnb review and I read it and I was like, oh, wow, lie. Or maybe not lies, but half truths, withhold, overt, which are still lies. And I thought, wow. And then just several other encounters with like just some manipulative energy. And you're just like, really, you can F off today. So very interesting that we're covering that today about how to deal with a manipulative person. Here's the idea with manipulation. Manipulation is typically people who are manipulative. Like, you need to understand that manipulative people are very afraid people. And that they need to feel like that they hold the strings over everybody else's life, that they are the puppeteer, that they are running the show. They are deceiving people, they are manipulating people, and they think that they're smart enough to hold the strings over every people and that they're smart enough to keep their games going. And the reason why they're not so smart is because they don't realize that while they think they're the puppeteers and manipulating other people, that they have a master puppeteer holding them. And that master puppeteer is fear. And they have no idea how much fear that they are under. And maybe they do, but regardless, it doesn't make them do things differently. And they continue to manipulate people, and they continue to hurt people, and they continue to deceive people. and make excuses for it. I think that people who manipulate, like they, to help them feel better about themselves, to sleep better at night, they have justifications, they have reasons as to why they are manipulating people. But at the end of the day, anytime that you distort someone's reality, you're hurting people. And so when you hurt people and you're okay with that, or you hurt people and there's a justification for it, you're a person who's typically out of control and you're in fear. So when you are in a relationship and you have a very manipulative person, and guess what? Here's the reality check, is we've all been there. And when I say we all been there, not we've all been manipulated. I feel like every human being on some base level has manipulated. How do I know? Look at a child, a little child. Well, I was just watching my nephew the other night, and he asked me, his parents will get a chuckle out of this. He asked me for, he said, Aunt Arica, I need a yogurt covered pretzel. And I know better. I know his mom doesn't give him a lot of sugar. And I said, you only get, he goes, I need 3, Aunt Arica. I need 3. I was babysitting for them for the night. And I said, you get 3. I said, well, here's the thing. You get 1 or you get none. What would you like? And he was like, okay, I'm not going to win that way. So he just bawled crying. He goes, I want my money. And I said, you know what? This isn't fun. And so I turned around, did some dishes, started singing a song, went into my own little world, and then it eventually stopped. And so from a very young age, we understand the power of manipulation. We understand the power of bending rules to get our way, bending rules to get the circumstances that we want in life. And so at one point or another, we've all been guilty of it. So before we get on our high horse and go, shame on those manipulative people, we can all wholeheartedly say we've all been there at one point in our lives. But as you get older, as you become an adult, you have to ask yourself, how much of manipulation do I want to participate with in my life? Because you know when you're being manipulated when it starts robbing you of your peace. So if you're in a relationship and you're like, I think the person is manipulating me, if it starts robbing your peace, that's a good sign you're being manipulated. If it starts distorting your perspective of truth, chances are you're being manipulated. So you need to understand that while this person who's manipulating you feels like they're the all-powerful one and that they're so smart, and that, they're just so good at like keeping everybody going, that person in themselves, that's a very weak person. A very weak person who's afraid and who's out of control. And the mere thought that they think that they can control you by their manipulation just shows how broken their mind is in that state. But now that we understand where they are coming from, that manipulative person, where they're coming from, where they may seem powerful because they think that they're the puppeteer and they're, creating confusion in so many people's lives or in your life, we understand that this is a very weak person, that this is a person whose mind is a bit diluted, a bit broken, right? But now we as adults have a responsibility, and we have to ask ourselves, how much of that do I want to participate in? How much of that do I want to entertain? How much of that do I want to oblige? And here's the thing, and this is going to be a really hard truth. So if you're watching this and you're like, yes, I'm in a relationship with a very manipulative person, and you might feel sorry for yourself, and this is going to be a bit harsh, but if you're feeling sorry for yourself, I'm going to tell you that typically we stay and we engage in relationships with manipulative people because we are getting something out of it. Because truth be told, we all see manipulation for what it is. But if we continue to stay, and if we continue to enable it, and we enable it by staying, Because just by us staying in the relationship is giving that other, it's like almost giving them a pardon. It's giving them a yes. You're granting them permission to continue on with their behavior. And the reason why we grant them that permission, the reason why we entertain it, the reason why we prolong being in the relationship is because there's an element of some type of gratification, some type of survival mechanism that it is supplying to our life. And so you have to ask yourself, what am I getting out of being in this manipulative relationship? What am I secretly benefiting from? And this is how you get your answer. What am I going to lose if I walk away? If I walk away from this relationship, what am I going to lose? And your mind and your survival mechanisms and all of those things that try to keep us safe will come up with so many justifications as to why you should stay. But the reality is this: if it robs you of your peace, if it creates confusion and havoc in your life, you have nothing to gain. Are you hearing me on this? If it takes your peace, if it wreaks havoc in your life, if it creates confusion, you have nothing to gain from that relationship. And the mere fact that you continue to stay in it and you continue to oblige them in this is essentially enabling them to keep manipulating people, keep hurting people, keep distorting their reality, keep doing what you're doing. And keep doing it. Good job. Good job. But the meanwhile, you have to understand at what cost. Is it costing you your peace? And you have to ask yourself this. I love what Christian just said. He said, I stay to mine because of fear of being alone for 2 years now, and it's so much peace. And the reality is when you're with a manipulator, this is really hard truth to hear, but the reality is you're already alone. Because a person who's manipulative has nothing to give you. And the reason why they have nothing to give you is because they are in so much fear themselves, hence why they need to be manipulative. And if they cannot feed themselves on the source of love, and they have to derive their power from fear, they're not going to be able to supply you with love. They're not going to be able to fuel or feed you. And so you're already alone. And so what you have to ask yourself is, if I'm in this relationship, what am I afraid of facing? They are a narcissist, John says. I know, that's like the number one word that people like right now. It's like narcissist. Everyone's a narcissist right now. It's quite funny. I don't know. Maybe we're all narcissists at some point. Who knows? But it's a very popular word right now. You know, I don't talk too much about my divorce that I went through, and we are all narcs to some degree, Christian says. And there might be some truth to that. But then at the same time, that's a whole different conversation. We're also much more powerful and lovable, and we don't even know how to acknowledge that. Okay, so I don't talk about my divorce enough. And one thing that I experienced was I was in a very religious community. Thank you, Jason. He says, I love your advice and your videos. Keep up the great work. I was in a religious community, and I remember at the beginning of my marriage not feeling like things were right. And right after the honeymoon, I said to someone, I want a divorce. Like, I made a huge mistake. And I remember this very religious woman who I looked up to at the time saying, we never say that word in our community. We never say that word. And that scared me. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm such a bad person, right? And I listened to her and I stayed for about almost 7 years. And when I was leaving that marriage, I knew, because it was such a self-righteous community, lots of judgment, lots of self-righteousness. These people were just as nuts and broken as broken people can get. And I knew that when I left, I would be leaving this community. And so there's an element of myself that continued to play the game and continued to put on the nice face, which is a form of manipulation as well. I always, it's like that book, No More Mr. Nice Guy, where he says that nice people are actually not nice people. They're actually highly manipulative. And so I was playing the game, and I was like, well, I got to have these people's love, and I got to have their support. And so I'm just going to keep playing at this rate. And so when I knew I can't do this anymore, like I started getting empowered in myself. I had a mentor who was empowering me and feeding me books. And I was like, this is all BS. And I remember thinking, like, not having much value for myself. And I thought, none of these people are going to be here for me. Like, if I really like make some hard decisions, no one's going to be here anyways. And I thought, then what are you doing trying to make all these people happy? Why are you trying to make all these people happy? And that becomes an incestuous form of like manipulation, where you have culture that manipulates you, and then you manipulate the culture by creating a facade and putting on a game that says, yeah, I'm participating, but you're backstabbing them, and they're going to backstab you the minute you walk away. And so it's just manipulation piled upon manipulation. And so I just remember, like, this, I am playing myself out by abiding by this community that I know is not going to be here when I put my foot down and say, I'm not doing this marriage anymore. I don't care how many people it pisses off. I'm not doing this anymore. And I think that is the hardest thing, is when you're with the manipulator, is facing the mirror that you are manipulating yourself, and manipulating yourself by saying that you're also manipulating other people, because you're holding back your voice, you're holding back your truth, you're holding back how you really feel about things. And so as much as I felt manipulated by those people, I was doing the same thing. I was manipulating by trying to play by their rules, trying to put on a pretty face, trying to say the right things that I knew would make them happy, not speaking my truth. And I just realized it was a fool's game. I was never going to win at it. And so who wants to play games that you don't win at? And so I think when you're with a manipulator and you come and you watch a video like this, you would think that like someone like me is just going to berate this person and say like how toxic they are. And they are. They're scared. They're scared, they're hurting, and they don't have the courage to face themselves. And so they try to control and dictate other people because they're so powerless in their own life. And so we can focus on that person, but that doesn't empower you to do anything different. What empowers you is to ask yourself, why am I being manipulative as well by staying in this relationship? Because you become an enabler in that situation. Like the longer you stay in a manipulative situation, then you have to hold yourself accountable that there's an element of you that's enabling them. Now, granted, you might come from trauma. You may not have a voice. You may not be able to stand your ground and say the things that are the truth because you're afraid of repercussion. And that's okay. But you're not doing yourself any service by saying, maybe it's not your place to stand up to them. Maybe you don't have the strength to do that. And that doesn't make you weak or a coward. But what makes you strong is by not staying in the situation and enabling it anymore. By giving yourself an exit pass and saying, I'm walking out of this. I'm not doing this anymore. And so I'm not, because listen, I've studied a lot, and I'm not saying I'm a specialist. I'm not saying I'm licensed in trauma or any of that, but I've done a lot of research. I've done a lot of work through my own self, and trauma has been something that I've been very astute with. And I know that when you come from a trauma background, using your voice and standing up to someone who is manipulative, who seems to have power, is a very scary thing to do. And I'm not negating that by any means. But what I want to say is you have to face the reality that by you staying and holding back your voice, that you're being equally as manipulative. And you might say, but I'm not hurting anyone else. Oh, but you're hurting yourself. And that's the most important person. And that is that you are hurting you. And so you may not be able to stand up to that person, and that's okay. Like, that's their journey. Whether they want to face themselves, that's up to them. But if you need to walk away, then it's time to find a support system and say, hey, I'm in a really unhealthy situation. I'm not sure how to get out, but I know I need to leave. It was the same thing in my marriage. When I was walking out of it, I didn't know how to walk out of it. I felt like I was a part of a very controlling, self-righteous group, which is laced in tons of manipulation. And so I had to reach out to people and go, hey, I don't know how to get out this. Like, I went to people that I felt safe with, that I was going to be loved unconditionally. And I said, hey, how do I get out of this? Like, how do I walk out of this? And I had some, a couple of precious people who gave me some very practical ways to go, this is how you leave a situation like this. And so the same may be for you. I'm not saying like you have to be this ball buster and you need to go, listen here, you manipulative POS. Like, that's not your journey. For some people, yes. Some people, you're like, I don't care. It's about time this a-hole heard this, right? And maybe that's your journey. But for some of you, it may be that, I'm not going to confront this person because I don't have the fortitude in me to do that. And maybe I feel weak. Maybe I don't. Who cares? That's not the issue. The issue is I am betraying myself. I'm manipulating myself, and I'm manipulating everyone else by participating in this. So what do I need to do? And in that, you need to find community. You can't do it alone. And that's okay. That's the beauty of relationship. I think that is the dark side of manipulation. Is manipulation really distorts people's reality to where they feel very unsafe in this world and that they can't trust anyone. And so when you feel like you can't trust anyone, you don't feel safe enough to find community to help you get out of it. And that's the anomaly of this. And so I always encourage the first person that you have to feel safe with is coming back to yourself. Come back to yourself and go, how can I feel safe in me? And the first way that you can feel safe with yourself is stop lying to yourself. Quit effing lying to yourself. Be really honest with yourself and go, why am I lying to myself? Why am I hurting myself by being in this toxic situation? What is this giving me? What false hope am I clinging to by being in this toxic situation? Is it bringing me peace? Does it make me feel safe to do relationship with other people? No. So why am I doing this? And I think that when we start becoming truthful with ourselves, that is a turning point of when we start liberating ourselves. And then as you liberate yourself, then you can go out and seek community and go, hey, this is my situation. I need support. I can't do this on my own. I don't think we're meant to do life alone. I really don't. And which is why I really hate manipulation. I hate it. because what it does is it robs people of the purity of trusting in relationship and trusting in truth and trusting in people. And so maybe you're not a place where you can trust another community. Then I would say, then you have to come back to yourself. Coming back to yourself, trusting yourself. Okay, guys, I want to hear what you have to say. Robert Rogers says, she got my wish to do this stream at night. I know, I don't ever do them this late. Thank you, Sean. He was like, take your time and stay safe. Yeah. It's like everywhere me and my Uber went, there was just like accident or cop cars everywhere. I was like, this is why I don't live in the big city anymore. Thank you, Came in Music. Thomas, thank you. Yo, William, so glad you're here. Juan, that was funny. Hi, John, glad you're here. Jason, pray for them, and if you can, walk away. Yes. Thank you, John. He says, love watching you. Gaza says, hello, Senorita Erica. It's so nice to see you. It's great to have you here, darling. Jason says, I admit it. When I was a younger kid, I did that sometime at work and sometime it didn't work. I've grown up since then. Yeah, I remember when I was little and I tried to manipulate my parents, and I was like, Mom was always the one that was just like, yeah, you can do it. And Dad was like, no. And it depended on what mood they were in. And I remember one time Mom had said yes, Dad had said no. And I was like, well, Mom said yes. So here we are. And my dad called me out on that so fast. And he said, if you ever put me against my wife again, I'm coming for you. And he said, she comes first before all of you children. And don't you ever forget that. And don't you ever try to get in between that ever again. Do you understand me, little girl? And I was like, got it. Won't do that again. Robert says, yes. Yo, Williams, 100. Jason says, yes, I'm hearing you, Erica. Christian says, I stayed in mine because of fear of being alone for 2 years now, and it's so much peace. We come into this world alone and we leave this world alone. I don't think we do come into this world alone. I don't know why people say that, because you physically need your mom's womb and her genitals to bring you into this world. And typically you need a doctor to help orchestrate that, or a nurse. And so I believe we don't come into this world alone, that we actually have a full team of people. And if we're fortunate enough that we leave this world with people around us, if we choose to show up as a loving person or as an a-hole, the choice is ours. Thank you. Jason says, I love your advice and your videos. Keep up the great work. Christian says, owning your own shit is the key. Self-awareness. That is the truth. That is just the truth, you guys. If you own your stuff, dude, it's where the power is, man. Owning your stuff is like, no one can take that away from you. No one can ever, once you own, like, okay, this is what I'm doing. This is what's going on. I get it. This is where I am a participant in that. This is where I am making that mistake. Now, what am I going to do? So I think owning it is a big part of it, but it's, what am I going to do about it? When you own something and then you change it, that's when you experience true freedom. But just owning it and continuing to do the same thing, there's no freedom in that. There's just no freedom in that. So, but awareness, you got to start somewhere. And so when you start with awareness, like that's monumental. Also, really quick before I forget, I wanted to share with you guys, this is not going to be up forever. So if it's gone when you watch this video, sorry, but this is for my live community. There is a link here that I just penned, and it's what I've been sharing with you guys about, if you have ever been interested in my emotional warrior or private coaching with me, check that link. It's in the chat. Hi, Robert from Southeast Iowa. Christian, feel your journey. Appreciate you. Thank you, darling. Cayman says, I've been dealing with family members for years. I had to outgrow the environment and part of me wanting to get away from them. It's true. I think a lot of times, sometimes we lose our power with family, right? Because it's the only form of love that we know. And some of us come from very healthy families and we just think, wow, I'm really grateful. And then some of us come from some really toxic, twisted, and you have to go, okay, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not placating to this. I'm not pretending to go along with this. I'm not selling myself out to make these people happy, even if they're family, and just going, enough is enough, calling spades spades. Yo Williams, thank you for the roses. Gaza says, wow, this is deep stuff and very hard to do. It is. I don't think that this is easy. Not at all. Juan, thank you for those. Christian said, I had to walk away from most of my family, including my daughter, due to manipulation. It's hard, but so empowering for self. It's empowering for yourself, but when you walk away from manipulative situations, here's the thing. When you stay in it, you're giving that person the green light. You're enabling them. You're saying, keep doing what you're doing, and I'm going to stay here for it. And they go, great. Obviously, I'm doing something right because people are staying around me. People are still validating me. I haven't lost my community, so I'm doing the right thing. But when you go, enough is enough, and then people feel the pain, they feel the absence of your presence from their life, then they have to go, I've overstepped. I've gone too far. And they're never going to come to that reality until someone walks out of their life. But if you continue to stay, they must think, well, obviously it's working because everyone's playing along with this. Alan says, never sell yourself short. Christian says, what is the social program of the 7-year itch? Mine was actually 6 years, but then for the divorce to actually go through, it was 7. So it was actually 6. But yeah, I hear it. I hear what you're saying. Robert says, thanks for your video. Glad you're safe. Thank you, Thomas. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Christian. He says, you are such a wonderful soul. Thank you. John says, when you leave a person like that, you have lost nothing. Yeah, I think that when we say we've lost nothing, I always think that we should have a value for people. But when they start bringing confusion, turmoil, pain, confusion, toxicity, uncertainty in your life, when that's being created and you walk away, those things, you're walking away from their environment that they're creating. You still love the person, but you don't like the environment that their actions are creating. So you're walking away from the environment that they're creating. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you. Jason says, yes, that is right. I did that and waited until they were in a good mood before I asked them for what I wanted when I was younger. Sean says, fantastic perspective, Erica. Thank you. You are so welcome. Oh, thank you so much. Christian says, your content helped me deal with so much of my journey along with many others. So thank you. You're so welcome. And I'm just, you know what, I really appreciate you guys being here. And I know that this is a really tough topic because, you know, I think especially, you know, I come from Texas. I think it's Brene Brown. She says that in Texas, like people can be very manipulative here. Like when someone does something, we go, well, bless your heart, when really we mean, I hate you, you know, or just something harsh like that. And we just go, well, bless your heart. And it's like so manipulative. And I think that, you know, as a lot of American culture, I know that the French make fun of us and they go, oh, you Americans, come on, everything is so exciting, it's so wonderful, it's so amazing, come on, it's not all so wonderful. And it makes me laugh because they're essentially calling us out on our BS when we go, if you ask an American, like, what's going on? You're like, I'm excited about this. I do it all the time. And I'm like, Erica, are you really excited about that? And it's like, it's such BS. And it's like, you're not excited about it. You're bored to tears with it, or you're annoyed or whatever. You're not excited about it. But we say these things to create this like falsehood of like, it's wonderful. Come, come, come. It's like, come on, such BS. So I think to some degree, we do a lot of BSing, and we have to just really, really just look at ourselves in the mirror and go, really? Seriously? Jason says, we need to pray for the people that hurt us. Yeah, I think that that's the thing. It's like, I think we have confusion with like compassion and walking away. You can have a lot of empathy and compassion for a person and not do relationship with them. And when you have compassion for them, you can pray for them. That doesn't mean that you enable them by staying in the relationship. That means you go, hey, good luck over there. I'm going to go over here. I still love you. I'm still going to pray for you. I'm still going to wish the best for you. But I'm not going to get close, because what you have going over here is really not fun. It's really heavy, and it hurts my life. And you don't seem to care about how much you're hurting my life. And you're going to keep doing what you're doing regardless. So you keep doing you, and I'm going to do me, but I'll still love you. I still got your back, still praying for you. I'm just not going to participate. And that's not always easy to do, but sometimes it's necessary. So guys, if you've been interested in coaching with me, click that link. I pinned it at the top. That's not going to stay there. So if you watch this video, 2 months from now, and you're like, where's that thing at that special that you had? It's just for my YouTube live community. And for those of you who've signed up for one of my products, it's only available for those guys. The rest of you, I wish you would have found me sooner. All right, guys, I love you so much. I will not be live tomorrow. We have a video coming out for you. It's part of the premiere. So I hope that you guys enjoy this one. I've had some really good meaty videos coming out. So they've been really, really good. Juan, thank you. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. And thank you, Chris, for being here. You're so welcome. Thank you, Christian. I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you, Gaza. Guys, I'm so grateful for you. You guys really make these live experiences very special. Without your voice, without your participation, it would be very boring. And so you guys make this lively. Thank you, Aaron. He says, I always listen to your lives. That means the world to me. And just thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of my community. Make sure you check that link out if you're interested in coaching with me. And just know that you're loved. Know that you're valuable. Know that you deserve peace. You deserve love. And sometimes the best place to get started is with ourselves. Okay. All right, guys. I will see you next week. Hopefully, fingers crossed, I will be back in France, still waiting on that passport and visa, even though my flight is tomorrow. Hopefully, I will be back in France next week. So fingers crossed. Send your prayers to me. Thank you, Jason. I really appreciate that. He says, I believe you have a wonderful heart and soul. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you for saying that. All right, guys, I love you, and I will see you next week, hopefully from France. Au revoir, mon amuse. Ciao. Bonne nuit.